Ladies and gentlemen, how are you doing today? My name is Tony Rizano, and this is episode 354 of the world famous, the University Love, the best podcast in 1, 2, 3 galaxies. But ladies and gentlemen, you and I, we just call it online marketing moves. We're coming to you live today. Today is Tuesday, August the 3rd, 2021 at the time of this recording. Ladies and gentlemen, how are you? Come on in, come on in, come on in, everybody. Everybody. What's going on? I thought I recorded yesterday. I got home late. My wife and the baby are still in the hospital. I got home. I thought I recorded. And I realized when I woke up this morning, I didn't record anything. I'll tell you what. I think today they get to come home. I'll be excited and get back to our normal schedule, get back to a routine, because going back and forth to the hospital is it's hard work, It's a lot of it's a lot of back and forth. The hospital, my wife said, I'm getting tired of being here. And I said, I'm sure, because they come in like every 20, 30 minutes. They have a job to do, which is great, but you know how that goes. Nothing's better than the comfort of your own home. Now, ladies and gentlemen, today we are going to talk about, sometimes you have to humble yourself, okay? Sometimes you have to learn that, hey, sometimes you have to start from the beginning. And now I will tell you a little story. Now, I know people, people that always want to start. Let's say they come to you because, things these days, people are kind of sheepish. So they want to start the same. Anytime somebody, and this is the world I live in, it might be different for you, but anytime anybody wants to get rich or something like that, and they want to make a lot more money, I guess, they tell you they tell me the same thing. I can't speak for you, but they tell me the same thing. They say they're going to get into stocks. They're going to get into real estate, or, it might be something else. But the main thing I've heard in the last few years is stocks and real estate. Blah, 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 blah. And these people, they come from all walks of life, all different, whatever. And they say the same thing. And it sounds good, but then you ask the people, you say, hey, have you read up on, and we'll say real estate. You say, hey, have you read up on real estate? No. Let's say, have you ever wanted to, have you ever thought about flipping houses or selling houses or whatever, or renting properties? No. Any books you ever read? No. And then you go, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? You got any money? No. And it's like, so where are you going to start? I don't know. Figure just go in there, do this thing, I heard you make a lot of money from real estate. Okay. So, alrighty. Well, this is going nowhere. You just sort of looking at them and they're like, yeah, man, can't be that hard. What do you mean it can't be that hard? What are you talking about? And these people are very, not that they're, well, yeah, they are kind of full of themselves, Listen, in order for you to be successful, you have to take action, but come on now, we have to have a plan. We have to have a thought. We have to have some, what are we gonna do? What's your goal? Why you want to do this? You need some you need a little thought process, I know somebody said they called me up. And they said their friend was like, this guy, he's into real estate, and she said she wanted to get into real estate, and he told her, he said, hey, what you can do is you can intern at a real estate company and start from there, and learn a little bit of the lingo, learn about the ins and outs. And she said, what? I ain't doing that. I'm not going to be no intern. I'm not going to, start. I'm not going to start over. I'm already a professional, whatever, blah, 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 blah. And you just shake your head kind of sort of, because it's like the guy's giving you some good advice, It'd be nice if you knew, because I remember my brother, God bless him, my brother in the late 90s, early 2000s, every night, me and him, we lived together for a while. I would get off work at 11:30. Every night on weekends, my brother would watch the same thing over and over and over and over. He would watch this infomercial about real estate, and my brother watched it over and over and over. And my brother, I guess he was dedicated. I don't know. He finally bought a course about real estate, and he studied that thing, and he studied it, and he studied it. Ooh, ooh, ooh. And my brother could tell you all the real estate lingo, all the whatever that guy was selling. My brother, he sopped it up like a biscuit, like syrup to a biscuit. He sopped it up. He was, and so he got to the point where he was ready to try to make a deal, and he went down and talked to this guy. And my brother, he was just spitting out these words, and I'm just looking at him, and I'm like, what in the world's going on right now? Who is this guy? And it's my brother. He just saying real estate terms, and the guy was just looking. The guy was like, I'm very impressed. You've done your homework. And my brother was like, blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean? My brother, the deal never got closed or whatever. But the point is, my brother did do a little research. And my brother is not one for studying. So even my brother, who never really studied, I don't think I ever seen my brother study the whole time we was in school together. My brother, I don't think I ever seen him study, maybe once, twice, at most, at best. So even he knew, hey, I just can't go in here and wing this thing. Let me do a little bit of research. So if my brother, who never, and I mean never, like I'm not making this up, this is not no BS. My brother, who never studied, not once in his youthful life, who studied when he was an adult to try to get into real estate, knew that you need to study or you need to learn a little bit. You could humble yourself too and learn a little bit. It's not about, yeah, you want to take action. We talk about that. That's great. You definitely want to take action. You definitely want to put your pedal. You want to put your foot to the pedal. Don't get me wrong, but at the same time, you need to figure out why you want to do this, how you're going to do this, which way you can go about it. Because you can't make, Steve Jobs had a passion for computers. He had a passion for this, that, and the other, all the stuff that he was doing. He had a curiosity. I don't know if passion is the right word, but he had a curiosity for the stuff. He had a curiosity for computers. Him and Steve, I can't even pronounce the guy's last name, but they created Apple. They had a curiosity. They wanted to see where it could go, and it went high. That's a extreme example. There's a lot of times that you could take if you have a curiosity about something, if you have a passion about something, then yeah, I say go for it. Try to make as much money as possible. Whenever somebody has it's like what do they say? You need something that you like, something that if you could turn whatever you would like to do into some kind of career, some type of business, by all means go for it, but because then you never feel like you're at work. I talked to a nurse yesterday when I was at the hospital with my wife, and the lady said, I've been a nurse for 35 years and I love it. And I said, oh, really? I said, that's great. And she said, it might sound silly to you, but it doesn't feel like work. And I said, I can understand that, because whenever I do this podcast, whenever I do anything about online, it doesn't feel like work. It's fun, like I enjoy it. I have a nice time doing it. I figured out that this is something that I want to do on a regular basis. So for me, it's joyful, and you want to. You should never just try to do something just for money, because it won't work. You know what I mean? Like it's just cold. Like when I started driving trucks, I was like, oh, I need a job and everything like that. But over the first few months, I developed a healthy respect for truck driving, and then about a year into it, I was like, you know what? I like it. It's not that bad. It's good. I enjoy it. I had a nice time doing it. And I still, to this day, even though I'm trying to move on and everything. Well, not trying to, but whenever I move on, I'm going to, in the back of my mind, I know that every now and then I'm going to miss cranking up the truck, driving to, a Kimberly Clark or something like that, picking up a load of diapers or wipes, toilet paper, and all that kind of stuff. Closing up the back of the trailer, putting the seal on, all that kind of stuff. I'm gonna miss that stuff. And eventually, one day, I might, invest in the truck or something like that, or do something like that. Just because I know in the back of my mind, as much as in the past, I used to complain, I would groan and moan about, the truck and everything, but I know I'm gonna miss it. But it's just like I want to do this, and so I knew when I started doing the podcast that, it's like, all right, I'm gonna. There's gonna be no listeners. There's gonna be no fans. There's gonna be no followers in the beginning. Like I had to, because the first time I did the episode, I was like, man, nobody listened. I was like, I should be like 1 million people listening. And then I had to check my ego at the door. And it's like, all right, nobody knows that you're doing a podcast. Nobody in the world knows who you are. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not, I'm not a Tony Robbins. I'm not a Gary V. I'm not, Denzel Washington. My name is not a known entity. So why would I think that it should be millions and and millions of people listening to me when I'm just started a podcast from scratch? And so you have to check your ego at the door sometimes. And it's just like, if I ever wanted to get into real estate, I got a book or two, so I would whip those out. I would read a book. I would ask questions. I would humble myself because I don't know. It's just like, matter of fact, yesterday, my wife, I was changing the diaper, and I've changed diapers before, but never on a little girl. So, I asked my wife, I said, you know, can you imagine me trying to act like oh yeah, I know what I'm doing. No, I said, I'm gonna need your help because I don't know what I'm doing, sometimes you have to humble yourself about things. Sometimes you have to take a step back and say, you know what? I don't know everything. I'm not the greatest at this. I'm not the greatest at that, but I can learn how to get better. I can learn how to be great, and don't think, yeah, it's like, yeah, you can invest. There's nothing wrong with that. Like, if you want to start learning how to, like, God bless you if if you really want to take on the stock market, you really want to learn how to invest, you really want to learn real estate. If you really develop you know, you don't have to have a passion for anything in the beginning, but you can develop a passion for something. You can develop a healthy a healthy respect for anything. Don't get me wrong. But learn the craft, learn the ins and outs. It's just like, I need to learn more about the ins and out of internet marketing. Like, I'm getting there, but I'm not all the way there. You know what I mean? Like, I've humbled myself. I know that there's a process, and there's a long process, and my process is probably longer than most people's because I had to knock down walls within myself, not anybody else, but I had to finally think like, all right, yeah, I know I can do it. Like, this not about confidence, but it's about a belief system. It's like, can I change who I am? And it's funny that, you know, one of my favorite podcasts, I told you this before and I'll tell you again, but one of my favorite podcasts is How I Built This about this NPR, National Public Radio. And this week, matter of fact, they had Gary Vaynerchuk on there, and I don't, Gary V, he's a very passionate guy, like, and I understand where he's coming from, but the only thing that I don't, really like is the whole, hustle, hustle, hustle. It's like, come on, man. I mean, I know he's making a point. He has a point, but then sometimes your point, you have to exaggerate your point and everything. So yeah, it is what it is, but I just really don't want people to think they have to work 24, because first off, you're not going to be productive. If you try to work 24 hours a day, we both know you won't be productive. You'll be worse off, So, you got to get a little rest, Without rest and recovery, then the things that you really want to do won't happen, But he made a point. He said, he was talking about social media, and he said, I didn't know anything about it, but I wanted to learn about it, And I was like, oh, that's good, He didn't come in like, hey, I'm this wine. He started off as a wine person. He wasn't like, oh, I'm a wine person, so I just know how to do social media. No, he figured out email. He figured out, social media, and he has made, quite a bit of. But he's not even about the money. He's just passionate about helping others and everything like that. And I had a different perspective listening to the podcast about Mr. Gary Vaynerchuk. So, I respect anybody that can go out and make a buck. Anybody that can go out and build a brand, build a name for themselves. Like it's respect. I mean, even though some people they do it in a kind of way, I mean, it's whatever, but with Gary Vaynerchuk, he's definitely not a con artist. He's a good guy. He's a passionate guy. It's just, sometimes people take his words and misconstrue them. So, but anyway, yeah. Sometimes people think, oh, I'm just gonna roll out of bed and make $1 million. I'm like, no, doesn't happen that way. And that's another thing. Speaking of humbling, you don't have to. You can make money. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, I'm not saying don't make money. Like, God bless you. You make all the monies in the world. You make all the monies in the world, but everybody ain't gonna be a millionaire. Like, everybody ain't gonna make $1 million. Everybody ain't gonna make $2 million. $3 million, $4 million, $5 million. Like, yeah, you shoot for that. You can shoot for that. Like, don't get me wrong. And it's not you are not a success if you don't attain like millionaire status. You are not a disappointment if you don't sustain millionaire success. Let's say you're somebody that wants to make 75. You want to make $90,000 from running the internet every year. And every year you hit $90,000 and you're content with that. And you're like, hey, I'm good. I don't have to work. I do this, I do that, and you make $90,000. If you're happy with that, if you're happy with your life, then God bless you. Then be happy with that life. The problem is a lot of people see other people on social media and they think, well, I need to make $1 million. I need to make $2 million and blah, 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 blah. Like me, I would like to make $1 million. I mean, me, myself, honestly, my only goal, really, not my only goal, but I want to pay my house off as quick as possible. I want to, put some things in retirement for me and my wife when we get older, because as I've learned from firsthand experience, medical problems do happen as you get older, and you want to be able to cover them. You want to be able to cover a lot of them. So I would like to have some money for that, I'm not looking to be Jeff Bezos. I'm not looking to be a billionaire, but I'm looking for a nice, sustainable, life, like one where, because the the one thing that I wish that everybody would learn was and financial intelligence. I wish we could all learn that, and I wish that none of us would go into debt trying to keep up or trying to make up for your childhood, or make up for things that you didn't get. And a lot of us, we sort of you fall into that kind of trap, as you get into your 20s and 30s. So looking back now that I'm 42, I have a different perspective about life, and I've never been one to spend a lot of money on a lot of things, but I know people that, they're like, I didn't have this as a child, and it's like, your childhood is your childhood, and I pray every day that I can teach my daughter that, if you didn't have something in your childhood, don't worry about it as an adult. Like it is what it is. You actually have a pretty nice, we have a pretty nice house and all that kind of stuff, and you got a nice little room, you're gonna grow up in. So don't look at other people's stuff and don't judge your life on other people's, how other people grew up, and so you know, that is part of it's like, if you don't make $1 million, this it's not if you don't make $10 million, it's not the end of the world, like, humble yourself, like, and if you have to start from the bottom, if you have to start from a different level, you're not going to come in, I started my first year of truck driving, I sucked, you know what I mean? Like, it wasn't even humbling because I sucked, and I knew I sucked, and it was hard, and it was a struggle, and it was frustrating, and I could have easily said, you know what, I'm going back to work at the prison, which, they called me at one point when I was started truck driving, and I was bad at it too, and I knew I was in the school, and I was sucking, and I was just bad at it, and I knew I was bad at it, and I thought, is this what I want to do? Struggle doing this? The prison called correctional officer. They was like, come back, and I just thought, eh, you know, I'm trying this. I'll see how it goes. If I'm not great at it, then then it is what it is, and we'll figure it out. And so it's very humbling. It was very it's very rough. But now I'm in year 16, and I'm I'm good. I'm great at the job. I haven't mastered, because it's always room to learn. But I can out drive. I can out truck drive you. How about that? Okay, you listening right now? Me and you got into the truck. I could chuckle at you, and your driving, and your backing, and all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? But I wouldn't do that, because I've been there, I've done that, and I've trained people, and we don't laugh. I don't laugh at people. I joke around with them a little bit, give them a little hard time, but that's just for try to get them to relax. But everything's you have to start from somewhere, and the faster you realize that, the better off you will be. It's not about coming in making $1 million. Learn something, grow from it. Like, I've been doing this for a year, and I'm definitely not rich from doing a podcast every day, and I mean, hey, listen, I wish there's 1 million people listening right now, but there's not. We both know that. This is even though it's been a year, it's still a process. We're still growing, and I, still have to promote, and I still have to get over the hump. We're gaining ground, but at the same time, we still have to put in the work. We still have to produce the content. We still have to be humble. Because this is not the this is not the Joe Rogan this is not the Joe Rogan podcast. This is not the I saw a young lady, she just made a deal with Spotify. I think it was like something about Call Her Daddy or something like that podcast. You know, I'm not in the top 10 of podcasts on a weekly basis. You know what I mean? But it's fine. You know, it is what it is. You know, you have to accept that. You know, and what you can do is get better. What you can do is work on yourself. What you can do is improve. What you can do is, you know, step your game up. That's what you can do. You know, but be humble. You know, like humble yourself before you try to, you know, come off as the expert. You know, like you, the, you know, and you see people and don't get jealous. You know, like who cares about what somebody else is doing? You know, like don't pocket watch. Like don't worry about them. Don't as as I used to say as a kid, and I told my wife one time, and she was like, "What you just say? Don't be out here studying everybody." You know what I mean? Don't study everybody. When I say study everybody, that means don't be out here looking at everybody, trying to keep up with what everybody else is doing. Just focus on yourself. You know, humble yourself. Be grateful that you have the opportunity to start something, because you know we are in the times where it's easy for you to grab a phone. It's easy for you to grab an iPad. It's easy for you to grab a Kindle, whatever. You know, you can upload books on Kindle. You can grab your computer. You can do whatever. You can shoot videos. You can shoot anything. You can create anything you want to, you know? And you can start from there. You can make a career out of that, you know? Like these are the times that we live, you know? There's not many gatekeepers, you know? And, you know, just don't think because you started off in one career that you are, you know, I saw I watched a movie one time with Jon Favreau, and Jon Favreau, he was a chef. And then I remember my wife, she was watching a TV show one day, and it was on Netflix. And Jon Favreau, who directed Iron Man and all kind of stuff, he was on there. And I was like, "Oh, is this that movie?" And she was like, "No, he's doing a show now." And I was like, "What do you mean he's doing a show?" He's like, "Well, since he did that movie, he said he has a curiosity about being a chef, so he's going around, you know, doing chef stuff." And I was like, "Oh, that's cool." And I was like, "Oh, well, it's good that he has connections and he can walk right in and he can cook up a little dinner with Wolfgang Puck. You know, that's cool, you know? Like sometimes you have to take advantage of situations like that. But a lot of times for the rest of us, we are not going to start off cooking dinner with Wolfgang Puck. You know what I mean? So like come in, you know, check your attitude check your ego at the door, check your attitude at the door, you know, humble yourself. You know, if you want to do real estate, you want to do whatever, you know, it doesn't matter what you want to do. Come in, check all that at the door, you know, and be grateful that you want to do something different in your life, you know, like be thankful that you have the opportunity to, you know, be alive and be like, hey, I'm at whatever age. It doesn't matter the age either, you know, that's another thing. Don't think, oh, I'm 20 something and my life is going to, you know, hell in a handbasket. You know, no. Life is about growing. Life is about, you know, learning. Life is about experience, you know. And sometimes your success won't happen until your late 30s, late 40s, late, you know, 50s. You know, it doesn't matter, you know, when it happens. It's gonna happen. You know, and if you just stick with it'll be okay. It's fine. You know what I mean? Like, but just don't come in and think, oh, I should be an A plus, you know, when you haven't even done the first thing to, you know, make anything happen, you know? So, ladies and gentlemen, be humble. Be humble. Be thankful that be thankful that, you know, if you want to change a change in your life, be thankful that, you know, something that, you know, not that I'm telling you to believe in God or whatever, but you know, me myself, I would thank God that I always thank God that, hey, I'm glad you pointed me in this direction of doing a podcast and pointed me in this direction of trying to do something different in my life. You know, like I'm thankful for that. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that is it for the podcast today. We will be back tomorrow with the all-new episode of Online Marketing Moves. But until then, my name is Tony Rizzano. Thank you for listening. And as always, everybody, peace. And don't forget to email the daily question.